Previously on the Terror Express.
Exploitation exists in so many horror films. What was the thought of the use of that exploitation in Slumber Party Massacre?
We will face it fearlessly.
What still needs to happen to achieve equality, especially within the horror industry?
We only have in the film industry, 10% of women's stories being told.
We have to empower one another to create these opportunities if they're not available to us.
That is something that we were all feeling on that set.
Have you had any real life supernatural experiences? Do you believe in the supernatural?
What a beautiful question that is.
And now, the continuation of Lightning Came Out of His Hands with Michele Michaels.
Have you had any real life supernatural experiences? Do you believe in the supernatural?
What a beautiful question that is. Okay, so there's a great story that I think is a fun one to share about. I don't know if you know about First Nations tradition and the Inipi and the Sweat Lodge. I've done so many of those, but one in particular had a very special, beautiful elder, wise, teacher by the name of Wallace Black Elk. And what he's doing is he's chanting and connecting with the other world. And he's basically, I think he's connecting with that our prayers are heard, that the prayers will be not only heard, but that they will bring us health and healing. Because a lot of the prayers in that Inipi meeting are about health and sickness and the need for strength and courage. And that's a really difficult place for many of us throughout life. So what happened in that meeting where you're down on the ground and there are coals in the middle, all hot coals, was that lightning came out of his hands. And it was amazing. Yeah, lightning, you guys, more than once that I witnessed. And it was like, I questioned myself, did I really see that? Was it the fire in front of me? But it was real flash.
Yeah.
To imagine that the spiritual connection on that moment had to be intense. Like you could feel the presence of, whatever your faith is would definitely be felt at that moment so strongly.
Exactly. So it was what a beautiful lesson for me to kind of learn about connecting with the earth traditions.
Yeah.
And the power of that, is incredible for me.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. I love that story because so many of the stories that are shared are scary experiences. So to get one that's like beautiful and just, I have goosebumps. Like,
we don't.
I love that.
Even in real life, we don't get enough of those. I've had a few experiences where I felt God's presence. I felt His guidance.
Yeah.
So to hear other stories like that, it's a rare treat. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, you win. Done.
Yes.
That was a special sacred ceremony.
Amazing. Yes. My goodness.
That's a great,
remarkable.
Great I'm part Cherokee and Iroquois too, so I have a connection with those practices. I don't do those practices because I wasn't raised that way, but I'm always been fascinated by them.
And that particular tradition, Jason, was Lakota. Lakota ceremony. It was a Lakota ceremony.
Sounds beautiful.
Michele.
Yeah.
What will be your legacy?
One of the most incredible things is that for the last 20 years, since 2002, goes way back, we had become a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization.
Wonderful.
To inspire, educate, and empower through arts, healing, and culture. To transcend the boundaries of hatred and prejudice and fear. So through arts would mean, one of the programs is Theater and Film for the Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Another is Walk Across the World, Global Steps for Unity and Harmony. And then that became also one part of that Walk Across the World. You're going to love this, with women filmmakers and storytellers.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And very important work.
Yes,
I love that. And I don't think a lot of the fans would necessarily maybe know that.
Right.
Mhm.
What a wonderful thing to share.
Well, there's a lot of archival footage, kind of like we're having the Zoom, right? I shouldn't have said it.
Someday this will be found.
Oh, goodness. The point is, editing is so valuable, right, Jason?
Yeah,
Right?
yes.
Valuable, necessary.
Necessary.
I'm no Amy Hayden Jones, but yes, I do understand the editing process is very important.
Right,
Yes.
right. She was going to be an editor. That's so good. So there is there's a lot of theater that had been produced, and we include and the interactive with audience. There's so much that I've got to edit and put into the film right now. Working title, Courageous Cry. It's it really is about the wholeness, spirit, and it's working on that over the next year, hopefully, soon. And I'm sure I'll be raising money for that and working with distribution but it really is life and death for the artist. So it really will be telling some of that the life and death. And you've got, we're going to be talking about, like you said, the difficult paths that we're working with in our everyday lives. And a lot of that is, if you are an artist, that's a really hard path, not an easy path. So the story will be
full of challenges, and you really have to be able to withstand getting knocked down quite a bit and keep on going. I feel like I'm quoting Rocky right now, but I think you know what I mean. But I mean, there's truth to that. I think, I don't know that the average person just says, oh, I think I'll be an artist because that looks like fun. Like I do think it's a calling. I think you are born to create on some level, and you cannot exist and live unless you're doing that. And you have to be able to meet those challenges and obstacles head on, because you have to.
Yeah.
There are no other choices.
Beckon to call in all the fragmented parts to the whole. And that's a large beckoning.
Yeah.
Not an easy pathway there.
What is your biggest phobia?
Beautiful question. The fear.
Yes.
Well, I guess, maybe not being seen as the whole includes the fragmented. And when you are sharing that very deep part of you, you got to risk and go all the way, and be willing to belong to yourself. And so that is the fear, really, is maybe how the judgment comes in around that from men, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I'm going to share the truth, because men are our partners. I live with one, so I live with one of them. So isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I mean, I live next door to them. I walk down the street near them, and sometimes it ain't easy to be around them. That really is the fear, is the men. I got to tell the truth. When the Me Too movement came, Jason, down the road, which is the fourth wave, I went, hail, thank God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God, because less is not good. More is essential.
Right.
So, you know, when Lena Dunham did Girls, I went, that's exactly what we need. You talk about breaking through the stereotypes. She wrote no woman with a stereotype. They were all unique to themselves.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
to me, you know, again, it's like life, death. How do you become yourself?
Mm.
How do you become
Yeah.
yourself in
That
a
is a
world?
very thought-provoking question. That's a very, very good
Hmm.
question.
And the other director was Claudia Wheel, who did Girlfriends in the late 70s. That is and that film is not recognized. And then there are so many films that aren't recognized by women. And to say that Amy was the first director, that's not true. We had thousands of women directors that were not recognized.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of, you know, I'd say female counterparts that
Yeah.
were really the driving force behind a lot of these iconic films. And, you know, they weren't given the credit, they weren't given the recognition.
Right.
Some of their stories are coming out now, which I think is wonderful,
Yep.
you know. But yeah, there was a lot of, you know, stay back there.
Yeah, the story, the one direct, I mean, there's so many. One of them that I love is Elise Guy Blanchet. And Jodie Foster came out and really supported the director who directed the documentary and found all the footage, talk about the incredible documentary filmmaker
Yeah.
that seeks to find all the different, you know, the pieces that she'll need to bring together to put it into a film, tell a story.
Mm.
Incredible. Storytelling
Absolutely.
is amazing. And I'm so excited about it for women and men.
Yes.
But you know, the women, the feminism is, so the Me Too movement, I had to go, I went down under. And it took about a year and a half because I was feeling the pulse of women and all the assault on women, and you feel it.
It's heavy and
It is.
it's palpable. Um and I think, you know, in so many ways societally we've kind of been conditioned, you know, to where these things are almost second nature, and not in a good way. Like I had a very innocuous conversation with my husband about going downtown for a film fest, and you know, in my head I'm thinking like, okay, I need to park near a light, I need to make sure I have this, that I can see this, that I have my keys. And I was like, and I asked him, like, not to provoke anything, but I was like, have you ever in your life thought about how to get from point A to point B safely when you're alone? Like, do you have, because I have, like, what can I use as a weapon, you know? And he's like, no, never. I just go to the car. And I'm like, I've never
Wow.
just gone to my car without thinking through the safest path there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's protection. You're a protectress. That's really
But
good. You're
it's
courageous.
almost like we have
Yeah.
always had to do that, you know, and you know, and not to like go down into like a negative place, but I feel like it just was a moment of, it's not so much a question of I'm sorry, of if, but when,
That's,
you know, and that's terrifying.
that's a statistic that is really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to answer. If you were to ask me the question that you would ask John, I would have to say I actually think of point A to point B safely, because it's, but let me tell you,
Beautiful, Jason.
I was raised by a single mother who was my mother and my father. I had a strong role as a sister. My grandmother was a strong woman. My aunts were all strong. They all helped raise me. My first wife was a strong character. My daughter was a strong character. They're all very strong, lovely women that have taught me so much. I think growing up raised by women without so much masculinity around has sharpened my senses to the fact that this issue that we're talking about right now, it's we honestly, we shouldn't be talking about this at this day and age. filmmaking has been around for over 100 years. Why are we talking about this?
Yeah.
And I really have to thank the women in my life, my friends, my family, for making me see that this is something that needs to be addressed. This is something that really needs to be, it's just something that really needs to be talked about.
I think a lot of people sometimes shy away from it because it's hard to have the difficult conversations, but we
Yes.
got to have them. And, you know, as women, we've been having them forever, and we're just going to keep having them until things change.
I love the opportunities that are there for us to dialogue and, you know,
Yeah.
come together to share about the phobias.
Michelle, do you have anything else coming up? Any conventions or any events coming up that you wanna let the fans know about?
Oh, convention. Well, there is one I've heard of that I might be a part of coming up here. And that, I think it's brand new in Los Angeles, called HorrorCon on October 1st and 2nd. And they seems great.
Nice.
I'll be there.
Very good.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
There's a book of Slumber Party Massacre coming out, not by me, by a beautiful woman who, you know, we're all sharing stories. That'll drop in, well, according to her, fall 2023.
Nice.
And then if I would love to share some autobiography too.
Yes.
Like in a couple years.
Honestly, this was just long overdue. You know, when
It really
Jason
is.
told me he was doing this, he was like, you know, maybe we can reach out. And I was like, I bet I know a few people. Let me reach out. And honestly, when he said what he was doing, I was like, I have got to reach back out to Michele. Like, I don't know if she's going to do this, but like, I would love to just sit and be able to talk. So I'm so thrilled, so honored that you graciously accepted the invite and joined us.
Well, I'm so committed to you now, and I have been since the first conversation in 2018, where I was hoping we'd come together like this, and it happened. So this is extraordinary, actually.
Well, next I got to get you out to the fest, so we can do
Yeah.
some cool stuff, and you get to meet all of the amazing filmmakers that show up. It's that crowd of like new filmmakers that I think I love the most, because they're so fresh and they're so hungry and so passionate. They haven't been jaded by, you know, Hollywood, and it's just beautiful. It's just,
that is lovely. That is lovely.
these are the people I want to be around, you know?
Sure, of course.
Yeah. Well, I want to take this moment and really thank you both, Vanessa and Michele, for being here tonight on this episode of the Terror Express. Like I said, what an honor. Thank you both again so much. I'll be sharing some information and links in the description below of some of the things that we talked about, so that some education can go on and some traffic can be had where it should be directed.
Yes.
And
well, it's been wonderful.
It has been great. And I think
hopefully we can do this again.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
Yeah.
So both of you have a great evening, and everyone who watches episode, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like and comment and share.
You too, you guys.
Have a great evening.
Excited to be here.
Thank you so much.